about just one time you listen and forget. We need to really implement a lot of this. So I'm going to share a written material of all of these things. Okay. So yes, by the end of the session itself, you guys will have it, and accordingly you can start applying that into your projects and your day-to-day life. Okay. Okay, fine. So chalo, let's get started. Okay. Look guys, we are into the week 3 of our career program. A lot of things we have discussed and been through this full journey. Okay. We spoke about goals, dreams, desires. How do you plan? Looking at your 1 year, and every day in the morning we are even executing that on a daily by day basis. We planned our week. Now daily by daily we are tracking progress towards those goals. So whatever we discuss as part of our previous 1 week, 2 week, we are implementing all that, discussing it on a daily basis in our morning sessions. And as we go forward, so right now we are into this week 3, where we are touching the IT industry related topics. Okay. So IT, having the right mindset, learning, growing constantly, it's very crucial for the industry. And we have been discussing about that. We launched Agile. We spoke about what are the key areas which you need to focus upon. We brought a Scrum Master to share the major events which are included in the sprint activities, in the Scrum process, in Agile. And that's how slowly and steadily we are getting into it. And as part of yesterday's session, apart from the some questions which we answered, we covered the top 5 key things which you need to focus upon as an IT professional to build a really strong career. Okay. Now, today we'll just go through it. Okay. We'll cover a few of the topics. We'll really put everything together. Okay. I'll be sharing you some checklist. I will be sharing you some written material. And first we will summarize all that. And along with it, we will even be touching branching model and environments. So this is something very crucial for all the initial years of IT professionals, because the wrong branching can really mess up with your systems and your projects. So it is a must-have knowledge which everybody should possess. And we even saw somebody having like 4 years, 5 years experience, people also not knowing how to use branching properly, and that really impacted projects. So I think if you know it, well and good. If you don't know it, I think today's session is going to be really eye-opener for all these guys as well. Okay. Okay, now let me share the screen and accordingly we will get started. Fine. Okay, chalo, ek karke guys, focus. Okay. And again, we spoke about this. Unless you apply, nothing is going to change, right? Actions are the doorway to results. And we already spoke about it. Don't keep your body and the mind lazy. So if you're attending this session, I would say leave everything, sit down, because if you're sleeping and listening, that will become your behavior. And no matter, even if you want to do focused work, you will still stay like that, because you have trained your body and the mind to be lazy and to not be alert, which is going to backfire on you guys. So be attentive, listen with full attention. We will be sharing screen, observe it, try to understand, interpret. Okay. So this is how it is. Fully engage to get the maximum value out of this. Fine. Now sharing the screen. Chalo, let's get started. Okay, okay. So this is the link, and by the end of today's session, we will be making the data available in the same link. The key things of yesterday's session. Okay, just a quick reminder. Try to become the A player in the industry. Okay. Next, think about 24 hours in one go, not just focusing on your work timings. Look at it from a broader perspective. You have 24 hours, you have 7 days a week. How do you get maximum results out of this? Okay. Third one is always work towards exceeding the expectations. Always, no matter which industry you are in, doesn't matter how much experience you have, whatever your role expects from you, try to over deliver. This is how you will grow faster. Next, your skill upgradation, knowledge upgradation should be a forever journey for you. Next, spend time with growth minded people. Okay, get away from negative complaining people, spend more time with the growth minded people. Okay, 5 rules, you stick with this forever and you will grow pretty faster in your careers, doesn't matter where you are. Okay, this is what we discussed. Now next, with regards to the project perspective. Okay, I've prepared a quick PDF and this workshop related, there are around what 8 pages. We'll walk through these things today. Many of the things we have already covered, but it is going to be a nice recap and something which you can see right now. Okay. So again, projects in IT work in a certain manner. They have a process. That's how things work. And one of a very popular way of building softwares is Agile. So it's a software development approach. It could be multiple ways of implementing Agile. Popular way is Scrum. Majority of the people are using, and that's all what we discuss as part of our further sessions as well. Okay. Next, we are focusing like yes on Scrum. Okay. And the basic roles, the people who will be interacting in an Agile project, it is product owner. The guy gives the requirement. Scrum master, he is primarily required to make sure that requirements are understood by the team, and then the 2 weeks of work is properly planned, and then the work is being delivered on the right time. Okay, that is the work of the Scrum master. And then comes the team, and team comprises of everybody: seniors, juniors, dev side, server side, QA side, DevOps side, DBA side, whatever. They all will be part of the team. We already discussed common roles like DevOps, DBAs. They might not be allocated for every team. They might play a central role who on need basis will work for different projects and different teams. So that completely depends upon the team culture. Okay. Okay, fine. So that's the basic. Next, we already discussed product owner gets to the requirement, and we covered all these things. So we start with requirement gathering, then analysis and designing will happen, and then the rest of the process goes through. So the product owner brings the requirement, he discusses the requirement with the team, and that is where okay, he discusses the requirement with the team, and these requirements are discussed in the form of grooming meetings. Okay, so we have already discussed about it in the grooming meetings. That discussion will happen. Now the thing is, this refinement meeting or grooming meeting, if you remember day before yesterday when Shivaraju, the Scrum Master, came, he was speaking about how the requirement is given also. Okay, nothing but it is given in the form of user stories, and it is having some pattern and format. Okay, if in your project it is not having, so I think you should encourage your team members to have that, because that's how you will get more clarity about your requirements. Okay, you can raise observations in your team. So user story format I have just mentioned here in the next slide. Okay, next, what does it say? Business requirements should be written in the form of user stories, and generally it is added to some tool like Jira. Okay, in the market there are some other competitors also, but majority of the project use Jira, but there could be some other things depending upon your project. But every tool provides the capability of writing requirements, and generally the term in Agile is called as user story. Your user is the end user, nothing but the customers who are going to use this application which you are building. So the requirements should be written from the perspective of end customer. For example, you are using an Amazon website for purchasing anything. So then they will write the requirement for development from the perspective of you who's trying to purchase something. Okay? So they will say, as a user who logged in into the system, show so and so as the home page, something like that. The requirements will be written from the end customer, and that's where they just used the term user story. Okay, they go in physical world. Okay, they have the sticky notes. You might be seeing that, a small paper kind of sticky notes. Okay, I think I have somewhere lying in my home. Let me quickly check if I have something. Okay, just give a minute. Okay, just a second. Okay, okay. So there go. Generally, it is something like this. This is a sticky note. Okay, a simple booklet. So one paper is like one requirement. Okay. Now what people say is, now there is a physical limitation. There is a need of this. Okay. In Agile, what they say, your requirement should not be very long and very like extensive, because the more requirements are written, people will make mistakes. Okay, So Agile said ki bhai requirements go to the point, very precise should be there. And that is where they said this kind of a physical limitation. So this becomes your one requirement on this paper. What does this mean? You cannot write big stories as part of this requirement. It has to be as to the point. Still, many companies have not fully adapted to this concept. So that is what it is. What it says on one side of this note, write in one line what the requirement is. Okay, and that is what is this on the shared screen. One statement, user story. Okay, there has to be one line which talks about what needs to be done, and basically it covers three things. It is having a pattern as a user, like which user. There could be n number of users, free users, paid users, premium users, or any kind of categories might be there. Okay, so as a user, I want what functionality. So the pattern is as a, then you write what user. I want, then explain in one line what functionality you want. Third, so that I can achieve the benefit. Basically, in one line, you need to cover three answers: who, what, and why. Okay, देखो guys, if these three things are not cleared, developers, QA will have a lot of questions. Why, what exactly needs to be done? So that is where Agile said simply every requirement should start with the one-liner statement which talks like this. Okay, and generally, yes, the product owner writes it, but if that guy is not writing it, you need to encourage them and ask them ki bhai, please write it in this manner. Okay, because dekho, what I realized out of my 12 years experience, if system is having problems or gaps here and there, okay, somebody has to take a stand and say, push people back. Nahi, please fix this, then only we are taking it forward for discussion. So somebody has to do that correction in the system, otherwise wrong things will continue forward. This is what I understood. Now that somebody could be anybody. It could be the product owner, scrum master, team, anyone can take that stand. This is wrong and we should not allow this thing to happen. Please fix this. Then only the system corrects itself. Otherwise, wrong things will keep happening in the system. Okay, fine. So now, in a small one-liner can be very nicely written, which talks about requirement. And then yesterday, like day before yesterday, Shiva was mentioning about acceptance criteria. So what generally happened is on the backside of this ticket, just in a few bullet points, okay, what are the primary, name itself says acceptance criteria. The development team, what are the mandatory things which we should do so that you will accept this requirement back from us. So what is happening is product owner is coming with a requirement and he mentions the acceptance criteria. If you have developed this requirement and if it is meeting all these key points, then only I am going to accept this feature back from you. Otherwise, you cannot take it to production. That is the term called as acceptance criteria. The product owner, if I am the product owner, you are the team, I will write my acceptance criteria and I will say, I explained you the feature. Now you should develop it and meet this criteria. If you are meeting this acceptance criteria, then only I allow your feature to go to production. That is how, as a product owner, I will say. And again, you can see there is a physical limitation of how long it can be written. And if you might say, how can a big requirement be written like this? So in such case, you should just break down the requirement into multiple small pieces. Okay, because that is what Agile said. If a lot of people are writing big requirements, many problems will happen. People will not understand it. Developers might implement wrong things. Tester might miss on the quality, and in the end, it impacts the system. That is where they implemented this physical limitation. Now consider that even in Jira, people are not really following it, but you should educate yourself to how to write so much crisp and to the point requirements. And if that is there in your project, your life is going to be pretty simple. Okay, that is what comes like acceptance criteria. And on Agile ka to ye do primary things are there. Okay, but as the projects more mature and people start using Jira, they realize few more things are required. In basic simple projects, only these two things are enough. But then people said, write down assumptions. Okay, you might assume the let's say you're developing a third party, integration with third party. That is a requirement. You have developed one service, some other team is developing another service. This happens very common. So somebody else is writing one side of functionality, you are writing the other side of the functionality. Okay. Now you can just mention an assumption. You are coding your entire feature based on an assumption that that third party team will finish their development by so and so date. Accordingly, you have written. So just mention that point in assumption. Okay, those guys are, we are assuming that they will finish the development by 20 of Jan, so that then accordingly our estimates are going to work. So that kind of assumptions, any kind of things which is mentioned, better to track it down, because if you don't meet it in the end, it comes on you. Next, dependencies. Now for this requirement, whatever you have written on paper, for this requirement, what all dependencies are there? Do you need an architect for review? Okay, if the database design has happened, should that be reviewed also with somebody? Next, for this ticket, is there any third party library which needs to be done a POC or explore like that? Can you write it down? Is there a DevOps dependency for this requirement? Or if you're integrating with a third party, generally always credentials will be there. So do you expect the third party system to set up an environment for you for testing? I'll get in more details about this kind of a use case maybe in tomorrow's session. And tomorrow is the last day. Okay, so mostly we will take it up tomorrow. But if you are integrating with a third party company, a lot of this happens many times. Okay, so they should set up an environment for you guys, then expose an API with some credentials. So that is dependency. If that environment is not available or you don't get the credentials, so you will not be able to progress on your tickets also. So these kind of dependencies will be observed. Next, any UI screens, like how the front end should be, that mockups will be there. And further, you ask any questions, clarifications should also be written there. Okay. Now this is what starts a proper format of a user story. So next time onwards in your project, start implementing things like this. It will give you a way of thinking how to work in the project. Okay, very important. Every area very important. Okay, fine. So that like this, the requirement will be coming. Okay. Next, if it is not there, you ask these questions to the people. Where are the mockups? Please give me the mockups. And you start tracking your own dependencies. Okay, you know that you track it. It will make your life simple. Okay. Okay, fine. So this is done. Next comes the requirement gathering phase. Okay, this is the call where the product owner will come and explain you this user story. That is what is requirement gathering phase. And few things I will just give you as a pointer here. Okay, requirements given in the form of user stories. Very good. It should have a defined format, already covered. It should be written. Okay, many projects I have heard that people just come and talk about requirement. It should never be like that. The requirements has to be properly written with acceptance criteria and all other details on Jira. Okay, if it is verbally communicated, people will cause a lot of problems during development and there is going to be a chaos in the system. So never accept requirements if they are not formally written somewhere. Mandatory checkpoint, guys. Don't violate it. Your projects will suffer, you will suffer. The requirements has to be written. Otherwise, don't even code that requirement. Okay, yes, sometimes it might be a project is in a very critical state and no person has not written it. In such case, you go ahead and you write a few key lines about the requirements. But an empty user story without a definition description should never be implemented. It is going to cause you problem in a long run. Okay, there has been case multiple times. There has been cases if something goes wrong in production. Okay, immediately the product owner comes and says, simply goes to Jira, looks at the requirement and says, hey, we asked you to develop this, but your production behavior is different. Now you are responsible for any loss that is happening in system. And if the description is not written, you will never be able to justify why the production behavior is like that. It could be anybody's mistake. But if requirement is not written, you become accountable, and there could be penalties included. There could be a lot of problems which comes along with it. So it's not a small thing. Okay, be very precise. Everything that you code has to be in Jira and meeting the requirements with approval. You cannot code something randomly. That's a big violation. Okay, fine, and that's how it is. Requirement should be written. Next, product owner. Okay, again, second important thing. Requirement is written, but some product owner might say, hey, I have already written it. Now, why do you want to have a call? Just read it, develop it. But guys, understand, there could be a lot of miscommunication. Okay, Abhi yahan pe we are in a same call. I'm trying to explain you so much in details. Still, there might be some people who will get questions. Arey, nahi samajh raha hai. What is he saying? Not able to relate. What does this mean? Nothing but no matter how much good somebody tries to explain, there will always be chances of getting some questions. And project is a complicated stuff. So if I have written something, if you read and interpret something else, it has happened for projects. Something else is interpreted, coded something else. Finally, when you give it to UAT, that person says, "Arey, but I asked you some other requirement, you are giving me something else." This happens in industry. Okay, so that is where it is always required. Get in a call with them, let them explain UK what they have written. Sometimes they might not write properly, so that it could be misinterpreted. So you ask them the right questions and accordingly make them changes if they have not done it properly. Okay, this is what important. So written should be important, getting in a call with them very important. Okay, next, once these two things are done, if there are any questions, do the to and fro and get the requirement sorted. Okay, this is what are the key things to be ensured for grooming. Okay, next, we spoke about this thing, story pointing and estimations. So what we discussed 2-3 days back, again I'm just trying to give you a recap so that you don't miss on the key things, and we have everything in written so that this lives with you, these documents live with you for a long time and you can refer to it, apply to it. I don't want to give it. That's where all my sessions are available on YouTube, free, available for all, so that you can take the benefit of this, go through it multiple times. If there are questions, write it to me so that we can even discuss it. I'm giving things in material written also so that you can live with this material and actually apply it into your life. Now the next thing, once the requirement is given, never give the estimates immediately. We already discussed, don't violate that line. Every statement is like a golden statement. You should not violate it. You will invite problems for yourself. Requirement is given, but without analysis, without high level approach finalizing, never give the estimate. No matter the CEO comes and asks you the estimate, say, "Bhai, give me some time to think and analyze, then only I can comment." People will create pressure on you. Okay, bhai, give me an estimate, give me an estimate. If you don't know the approach, if you have not analyzed the ticket, you should not give estimates. As simple as that. Okay? Because if you tell anything, later on they will hold you for that, and if you have not done analysis, later on gaps come, that is going to backfire on you only. So don't give estimate without analysis. Now point is, yes, analysis will be done. You will think about how to implement, what could be the challenges, what is the best way of doing, and then you can just break down the tickets into smaller work and then give the estimate. Now we discussed there are primarily two variations for estimate. One is a story pointing variation that we discussed yesterday. There was a question, okay, what is a story pointing? We already discussed. It's a Fibonacci series. For every requirement you give a number, and this number talks about three things. Okay, efforts, nothing but the time taken, complexity and risk. Okay, generally, okay, I'm just giving you a formula. If it takes 3 days in terms of efforts to complete the ticket, so generally your effort part here should be 3 divided by, just divided by 2, okay, which is nothing but 1.5. So this is how we interpret it. Agile has not defined a proper way of calculating user story points. Okay, our way of doing it is how many days it is going to take to finish the feature. Let's say it takes 3 days, divided by 2, that becomes the effort part. Next, ask yourself a question, how much complicated this ticket is, this requirement is. Accordingly, try to give it a number, 0.5, 1, 1.5. If it is very complex, 2 maybe. Okay, next, risk. What is the risk involved? Matlab, do you see while you started development and all of a sudden somebody might say, no, this requirement is not valid, change the requirement. Do you see these kind of risks might come during the development time? Do you see that if the environment is not given to you on time, the project will not be completed, requirement will not be completed? So ask questions. With maturity, you will get answers. But ask the right questions and think about it. IT journey, guys, it grows. You grow as a person over a period of time. This is what is IT journey. Day one, you don't become perfect. But when you ask the right questions and work in a dedicated manner for next 1 year, 2 year, you will get the right answers. This is how the IT journey is. Okay? So guys, put your efforts. So now, yes, ask the question, how much time it will take to finish it? Next, ask a question, how much complication is there? Accordingly, try to give a number. You all give ratings, right? स्विगी जोमेटो पे कुछ खा लिया, अमेजोन पे कुछ खा लिया, रेटिंग देते हो 0.5 स्टार, 2 स्टार, 3 स्टार, like that you just decide कितना complex है, too complex, 1.5 complex, how much risk you give that, and then whatever is the effort divided by 2, added complexity, added risk, total जो भी आता है just round it off towards the nearest possible Fibonacci. This is one way of doing it. In your company they might follow a different way, so discuss with them what is that approach and accordingly try to learn that. Okay. Next, while you are giving the time based estimates anywhere, and this will be required on granular basis, before you start any requirement you should know this. So break down your total work very properly. Okay, UI ke liye how much time, UI unit testing how much time, server development how much time, server unit testing how much time, next UI server integration and testing how much time, next QA test cases writing how much time, QA test cases execution how much time. Think about it into granular details. If your project says no, unit testing is not required for us, so then remove that, focus on the other areas. But let me tell you, for big projects which is going to be constantly modified from time to time, they will make unit testing mandatory. Small projects, starting kind of projects, they will overlook it, but big systems cannot run without unit testing and automation. So that's how it is important. Okay, so that's what it is. Okay, to consider these factors, that's how you do estimations of your work. So you need to think from all this, and then you will know, okay, so total 5 din ka kaam hai. That's what a term comes like man days. Okay, 1 day of UI, 2 days of server, 2 days of QA. That's where total 5 man days are required. Okay, what does this mean? 5 man days. If one person works on this, then it will take 5 days. But if the UI and the server guys are working together, QA works together, maybe this feature can be finished in 3 days. If parallelly multiple resources are working, time will be reduced. But ideally, whenever you give estimates, talk in terms of man days. Okay, for finishing this feature, it takes 5 man days. Matlab, if one person works on it, it will take 5. But yes, when parallelly many resources are working on it, it speeds up to maybe 2 days or 3 days. In that you can deliver. So understand the differentiation between an estimate, man day estimate versus delivery estimate. Both are two separate things. Okay, more people, things will happen faster. One person will take a lot of time. So you talk in terms of man days, but yes, delivery date, you need to say considering parallel working of people as well. Okay, fine, that's how you estimate. Next, moving on. Now, guys, I have created some checklist. This you need to apply all throughout your project development life cycle, and your life is just going to change. This is the final work. If somebody says, what do you want to give as an output of your 12 years of experience, I will say, take these 4 checklists and just live your life like this, and your life is going to be sorted. You will not encounter any problem if you work as per this list at every phase. Your projects will be great, your team contribution will be great. You will become an expert basically in your project if you simply follow these 4 checklists. It is that important. Okay, and after a lot of experience, lot of struggle, I have finally boiled down. Every line has a very detailed meaning. So I would request all you guys to go through everything and start living this kind of a culture in your team. Forget about others, but you start applying it in your project and you will grow rapid fast in your career. Okay, what are the phases? What are the 4 checklists? First, how do you involve during grooming requirement process? Next, when your development is starting, you will work in sprints, 2 weeks window. So on the day 1 of the sprint, what are you supposed to do? Next, how you should plan your sprint work, 2 weeks of work, how it should be planned. First half of the sprint, second half of the sprint, what should be the thought process and the actions that you should take. Full 2 weeks of work. Next, when you daily come in for the morning daily stand up, how you should work. So these are the core ways and the behaviors in which you should work on any project. Okay, if honestly speaking, I can speak about each of this area for 15 minutes. Aram say it will become 1 hour topic just to discuss each of these points. It's very detailed, it's very depth, but I would request you guys to go through that effort of knowing it, because when you put some hard work, you will remember stuff. When everything comes ready-made to you, you will not really understand the value of this. This is my 12 years of experience. Okay, and it is going to take your efforts to grasp it. Okay, even if I give you everything in a silver platter, you will not even understand the value of that, and accordingly you will not implement in your projects, and your projects will struggle. So if that's what is the end result, so let's not get into there. I would like all the guys who are committed for success, they should really learn it, apply it, and understand. And if you have any questions, write it to me on WhatsApp, it's there, LinkedIn, it's there. You just reach out to me if you have any doubts on any area. Okay, but a few things I'll just touch based on, like, in a 5 minutes quickly through all these areas. Okay, 5 minutes, quick things. First, requirement. You need to read it. You need to properly understand it. If there are questions, you need to get questions answered. If there is confusion, you should not take up the requirement. Wait till the questions get answered. Think about it at a high level. We discussed high level 3 days ago. Okay, how the services, third parties, how this communication should be, infrastructure perspective, approach, how the code organizing will be, design pattern will be, high level approach, finalize it, maybe put some documents about it. Think from technical perspective, what challenges might come when you're trying to implement it. Identify the dependencies, check on the impact to the existing system, go back to the product owner, discuss with them for finalizing, and then estimate. Every requirement that comes to you, walk through this system. Life will be peaceful. So let's say there are 10 requirements which are discussed with you. Do this for every 10 of the activity over a period of time. People say, right, how to grow logical thinking. This simple checklist is going to do that. How to grow analysis. This simple checklist is going to do that. How to grow in designing an application. This simple checklist is going to do that. The only way of learning these things is you need to do. There is no other magic. Okay, with experience you will get it. And how do you get it? Because you do. So if you do this for every single requirement, doesn't matter who is going to implement it, but whenever a requirement came, follow this thing for your own sake, you will realize your brain will become smarter with time, because you will ask the right questions. You will understand functional gaps in the requirement. You will understand technical approaches, what will work, what will not work. In a matter of 1 year, you will be far more smarter than who you are right now, if you analyze every requirement which comes for your project, regardless of who is going to work on that. That's the way. There is no magic for it. You have to work so that your brain sees and thinks in a different angle. And this simple checklist is going to help you to do. Fine. Now let's say you do this for everything. Okay. Life is peaceful. Day one of the sprint comes. Okay. Again, few things to be taken care of day one. Read the ticket back again. Okay, don't get in overconfidence. Arey, meko to pata hai. Sometimes descriptions might be changed of the ticket time to time. So you need to read the latest description. And if there is any question, still come up with that. Okay, next, read high level tech discussions. So initially some discussions might be done during grooming time. So check those discussions. Okay, think about the low level implementation. Now, what is low level implementation? I just covered it, something like this. Okay, how should be the API design? Method name, request structure क्या होना चाहिए, response structure क्या होना चाहिए, how the security will be taken care, username, password, how it will be, how the logging should be, how the error handling should be, how the HTTPS response code should be, how the DB design should be, in which class you will write what methods, can existing things be reused, how to use connection pools, how to use thread pools. Okay, how to use maybe SQS kind of a system here, or where to use caches in the system. All these kind of things, thinking about concurrency, thinking about performance, all this comes as part of the granular implementable details. Sochna padega. Okay, the more you think, the more answers you will get, and it will not come ready made, guys. Whatever I spoke right now, maybe for everything, go, this video will be in YouTube, read this blog again, write down all those questions, make it more refined here, and next time onwards ask those questions and see what answers you get for all your requirements. You will start getting better in this. Next, whatever is the answer, write it down again in Jira so that you don't forget it. Okay, just write it down in Jira. For one requirement, subtasks might be created. In the subtask, just go ahead putting it in bullet points. Okay, this is the plan, so that it is always there as a reference. Even 1 year from now, if something happens in production, you can go there and say, hey, this was discussed like this, we implemented like this. That's very important. Okay, evidence is are required in IT industry. Okay, multiple times, those things are really required. So at least the basic things don't violate it. Let the evidences be there of what is discussed, what is agreed upon. Because if something goes wrong, people might toss it. Hey, you did it, your mistake, your mistake. You should say, I did my job properly, it is there in Jira, this is how it is agreed, accordingly we have built. If there is evidence, this is how you will talk. Otherwise people will put it on you. And no matter what you say कि इसने ये बोला उसने वो बोला, ऐसे नहीं चलता है. Okay, कोर्ट वाला रहता है भाई, proof क्या है? If you can show the proof, that's how people agree. And Jira is the proof कि what is being agreed. And IT industry somehow mutually understands that कि things have to be written, then only it is agreed, something like that. Okay, okay, fine. Next, impact analysis. Now these are few important things. On the day one of the sprint, you're going to work for 2 weeks. Sprint is, let's say, for example, 2 week sprint. Now, if there are 3 requirements given to you for that sprint, you need to do this work for all the 3 requirements in the day one itself. If you don't have time, maybe in the day 2, you have to do it. You might say, yeah, development, you do it later, but this approach, low level discussions, do it in the beginning of the sprint itself. And whatever you are planning for implementing it, discuss that with your seniors. Encourage this kind of conversation. Why? Because this will avoid a lot of last moment changes. And if seniors understand the requirement differently and you go, then when the code review is happening, people might ask you, hey, why have you done it like that? It is wrong, and things are already late. So that is where in the beginning itself, share your understanding with your seniors, share your approach which you are planning to do with your seniors, so that they will correct you there itself, so that it saves a lot of time later. Next, you need to connect on the day one itself with all the other parties. There will be 3 people working on requirement, UI, server, QA. You might be whoever, but for all your feature, connect with the other 2 guys. Okay, bhai, are you guys all understanding the same requirement? Or is there any gap, or is there any confusion for anybody? Own the full feature, guys. Don't just think I am a server developer, I should do only my job. No, you are a functional developer of that feature. And many of the times your other 2 members are not going to do it because they might be a C player or a B player. But A and the B's basically take this responsibility of looking at the feature together. Not the C and D walo ke liye bahut dhakke lagte. Generally B people take it, C people say you need to ask a lot of questions ke ho raha hai nahi ho raha, stuff like that. So you belong there, take 100% ownership of the feature, even work of QA, work of UI, work of server. Try to really see how the progress is happening. Okay, fine. Next, whatever is the estimate provided, double check on that. And if you see any concerns, raise it then. If you still have any open questions, track it them. And if there are any dependencies which are still not addressed, again track it them. So on the day one, you should know everything about your requirement. Fine. Now, while you are knowing everything, you go to the daily stand-ups. So your focus during the stand-up should be, if these open questions are not answered, if these dependencies are not resolved, you should raise it every single day. Tracking and following. So here already I have mentioned it here. Okay, tracking and following up on the user stories, any open questions and dependencies. So you have studied it on the day one itself. A few things are not answered. On a daily basis, you keep reminding that still it is not answered, still it is not answered, and that is going to get your work done. You need to remind people daily. That's what I realized in IT industry. Everybody is busy in their own work. But if you have something, you need to chase people and get your own work done. This is the only way of surviving in industry. You need to run after people, follow up with them 3 times a day. Don't care ke kya soch rahe. If it is a blocker for you, there is a way of talking it nicely to people. But end result is you need to learn how to get your work done in the industry. That's very much required. Otherwise, people will play with you like anything. आजकल में फिर पूरा feature भी delay होगा and it will come on you. Why are you not able to deliver the feature on time? So you need to learn this art of chasing people, getting your things raised and getting them ahead solved itself. For example, on the day one, you have these questions. Okay, you reach out to that person. Okay, let's say Praveen. So, hey Praveen, ye requirement, by when can I expect some answer here? Praveen says, no, I'm very busy. I cannot do it today. So immediately get the next date. Okay, not today. Then can you do it by tomorrow? Then Praveen will be kal bhi main busy hu. And then you should give like day after tomorrow, and then start getting into an emotional state. Or yeah, Praveen, it's already 2 days gone. My project will be delayed and it is going to impact us very badly. 3 days, mein pakka give me by day after tomorrow. Okay? And then Praveen will become connected with that. दो बार नहीं बोलेगा, तीसरे बार तो हाँ ही बोलेगा ना. He is also doing a job there. So finally, Praveen says, okay, day after tomorrow I'll give it. And now don't tell and forget it. Follow up with them. Hey Praveen, you said tomorrow you're going to give it. Are we on track? Can you just make sure we get it? By what time are you going to give it? Pinpoint in terms of when people should finish their work. Who should finish by when people should finish? This clarity has to be there. Tomorrow by 12 can I get it? Praveen will be like, तो पीछे पड़ गया और यार project में बहुत है, मेरा manager मेरे को सुना देगा. Can you please do it? And then he said, no, 12 is not possible. Then give another time. By 2 p.m. हो जाएगा. And then by this way, if you really pinpoint people, they will not quit their day without giving you. And if they miss day after tomorrow, you should be like, come on, Praveen, I'm chasing you since 3 days. Now my project is completely screwed up. And like, can you, it has to be done. Okay. And this update that you're not getting the work on time, you have to keep it properly communicated to your managers. If this communication is happening properly, if you're chasing the people properly, your life in IT is going to be smooth. Otherwise, there will be confusion. People, because there is a lot of coordination in the industry. It's not one person job for any work. You need to do a lot. And generally, people will respond if you talk very precise to them. Consider their workload also. So I'm not saying consider their workload and give them something very proper. Fine. So learn this art. Again, I'm emphasizing, learn this art of getting your work done by other people. Following up, it's a strategy which you should learn. You cannot dominate them or you cannot raise your voices at them. People will be like, करके ही नहीं दूंगा. People will take it. करवा के दिखा भाई. इतना चेस करेगा, करवा के दिखा. नहीं करता, क्या करेगा? People will take it personally. सही गलत मैटर नहीं होता. That's where you need to learn a human art of how to negotiate and how to connect with people. How to be humble, plus at the same time get your work done. How to have a smile on your face, plus respect the other person's situation and then try to solve it. It has to be learned. It has to be learned. Right or wrong nahi hota hai. How do you learn that art? That's a skill basically. And you need to learn that. Otherwise, you will struggle in the industry. Okay, fine. And daily you keep telling about it. And if he's not responding to you properly, escalate it. Raise it with your manager. Yeah, I'm not getting the response. I wanted it by this time. He's not getting me. Scrum Master, can you please check into it and get me the answer? Otherwise, I will not be able to progress. So what you're doing, you're chasing them also. You're putting it to your Scrum Master also. Kahin na kahin se to kaam ho jayega. And the beauty part here is the interesting thing why this way will work. On the day one itself, you studied all your requirements. And you're trying to solve the problems which will come in the week 2. Because you're working on only one feature. You pick that feature which is not having dependencies. Your remaining 2 features, you will work on that maybe this weekend or maybe next week. So you're already trying to solve your own problems so that when you go in week 2, these blockers are not there. And if you work like this, your life in IT will be smooth. Understand, guys, these are gem things. This is how I lived my 12 years and I got wonderful results. Massive, complicated projects, clients happy, customers happy, team happy, work always delivered on time because of being very proactive with all this. Not compromising and not crossing these boundaries will make you a very high quality professional in the industry. Okay, that's how it works. Fine, so that's important. Next, apart from that, okay, what you did yesterday. Many people just talk basic, but that's not how stand-ups are supposed to. What you did yesterday, what you did today, are there any concerns? Itna karke public bolti hai, ho gaya mera kaam. It doesn't work like that. You get your problem solved. You make sure that the 3 guys, UI server QA, who are working on your feature, how they are progressing. That is where I've written this last step. Check for the complete status of your requirement. How the 3 guys are progressing on this. If you're a server person, you're continuing with your development, you need to check with the UI. Hey, where is your development? By when it can happen? I'm expecting to do UI server integration by today 5 p.m. Will you be ready by that time? If he says no, how come no? We already committed this kind of a due date. You need to get your work done by working with other people. Nobody else is going to do that for you. And that's how A and the B players will be doing it. And then they get recognized in the project. यार शेनु सही है, प्रवीण सही है, By that way, that recognition will come because you know how to get the work done by taking ownership of the full feature. And that's a responsibility. And that's how these people will be given more chances because you take care of project very properly. Okay, fine, check with the QA. Arey QA, kal tak to ye work will be finished. We are going to give it to you by tomorrow. Where are your test cases? Did you write the test cases? Do you have any questions? Any gaps there? Why are you waiting? Why it is not happening? He says, I've picked it up tomorrow. If you're doing that tomorrow, what are you doing today? He says something else. Then you should be like, why did you pick that ticket? Because we are working on this ticket first. This will come to you. Forget about this. Close that first. You can help people to make logical decisions in the projects. If you are on top of your game, your feature will be always successful. Your sprints will always be successful. Guys, I'm literally proud of the way my team works. In past 5 years, okay, 99% cases we have met our deadline. Even one feature was not dropped out. That's a big statement for the IT industry. Projects doesn't work like this. There is always overflow, there is always work, nahi hua, blah blah blah. But none of my projects since past 4 years, 5 years. And that's because the team works so efficiently to all these things. Very proactive, high level of concentration to the entire project. And that's how we get results. I want you to apply the same so that your projects will be successful. Okay? And your life will be painful because opposite of this is a very messy world. I'm giving you the solution. If you don't apply this, you will realize the pain in the industry. You will realize it. You will realize it. And yes, I think that kind of pain is also required for learning. So I'm okay even if you don't apply this. Let go through that pain. And then you will know कि life में कैसे pressure आता है, tension आता है, and then game band बजती है. You should even taste that kind of version. But then you will remember, अरे Tosif was saying something. Let's see कि क्या बोल रहा था बंदा. And then I think you will get the seriousness of this more. But I want to tell you, this is like, क्या बोलते हो? Okay, golden rules, or I'm not getting the right terminology. Brahmastra. ठीक है, ब्रह्मास्त्र of IT industry. Fine. ठीक है, simple things है, but doing right will give you a lot of value. And next, start talking in terms of due date. By when the project can be finished. Do you think in 3 days the work is on track, not on track? Talk about that. Even though day one is happening today, and you said in 4 days I will finish it. Just talk about it properly on the day to tell, do you really think will it happen on 4 days? Be proactive, guys. Your IT life will be simple. Fine. That's what you do in stand-up. And then you come to this area. Okay. How you should execute your sprint. Simple rules. Okay. In the beginning of the sprint, put full efforts. Cut down your time pass, cut down your breaks, cut down your lack of focus, and cut down your कि भाई बाद में देखेंगे अभी तो 10 दिन है. Because of that, lot of problems are there in the industry. Because last moment में जाके everything piles up, you give the items late to the QA, testers give less time for testing, quality compromise starts happening, UAT problems start happening, production में bugs start happening, and then you're like, "Arey, I'm always working so hard, people are unhappy, they always raise complaints on me." Arey, you're not working right. It's not about hard work, it's about working the right way. IT में गधा काम करने से you will not succeed. You need to learn the right way of working, which is being proactive, thinking smart, acting on the right time. Same efforts you perform differently, you will get more results. Same things you do it differently, you will get bad results. Right moment, right time for doing something is very essential in the industry. Okay, so the right time is the beginning, the first half of the sprint. Go all in, full efforts, no compromise, cut down your tree breaks, work very aggressively, pull in your team together, build that environment where the UI server QA guys are discussing. You discuss with your seniors what to do, what not to do, why to do. If there are questions, raise it with your scrum masters. I need the answers of all this thing. And then he gets you and see whether you're on top of everything. Do the development, testing, reviews, everything proper, hand it over on the right time to the people, so that later, once you give it to QA, basically your life is peaceful. So if you work very aggressively in the first half, you can enjoy the rest of the sprint properly without quality compromise. Otherwise, you will start living a miserable life. That's what this says. Next, take the complex and the challenging part first. Okay, easy चीजें तो हो जाएगी. So take the complexity wala thing first, because if there is problem in that, you should know it as early as possible. So don't run away from challenge. Take the challenging box first, because if it is not happening, you will know what's not working so that you can ask for help for other people. If complicated work is pushed for later and later on surprises come, others will say, hey, we are all busy with our work, we cannot help you right now. But if you take it early, people will support you. And if it is not going to happen, you can tell to your scrum master, okay, this is not possible to do it in 2 weeks. We will have to move it to the next. Upfront bolna padega. That's what. Take the complicated part first. Next, daily follow up and get your dependencies resolved. Again, here, don't wait for only stand up time for resolving your dependencies. Do it during the day also. Next, clearly communicate for everybody what's happening, what's not happening. And guys, always over deliver. That's the way. Simple rules. And this sheet, I am like already this document, I'm going to upload it in the same link. Okay. And it's like the previous link, I'm again pasting the link so you guys can take the benefit of it. Just keep this link, bookmark it. All the sessions are available here. Don't take these things for granted, guys. Your life will just go to the next level if you're following all these things properly. Okay. In this sheet, I will upload this document. Okay. By tomorrow, it will be uploaded. So yeah, and anyways, tomorrow session, I'll just quickly show you. I'll quickly upload. Okay, fine. Chalo, ho gaya ye. And now comes final 5 minutes and branching model. एक काम करते हैं, ठीक है? Quickly first mark the attendance. After that, we'll spend like 10 minutes in understanding the branching model, and then we'll wind up today's session. And then tomorrow is the last session of this batch. Okay, so every month we do it on first Monday. So this month it's a 3-week program. Tomorrow it is finishing. Next time we will connect back on 6th of February. Again, remember, knowing the techniques is the step 1. Implementing, building it into a habit. So if possible, try to join as part of tomorrow or like morning sessions. We are implementing a lot of things practically there, and you will grow. Okay, we got some very wonderful results with our team. Okay, I'll not name the people, but I'll just share UK how I have seen people evolving with us. Okay, देखो, like today message itself, right? I pasted that message in a common group. One of our team member recently joined a company, and he found that okay, the work there, okay, was not having proper clarity. They are into a project, assigned to a project, but no discussions happening. There is no clarity, and there are like 20 plus people just sitting like that, and they don't know what needs to be done. Okay, so our career transformation member took the initiative and led that entire division, escalated to the HR, spoke to the seniors, and guys, at fresher level person did this. Rest everybody were scared कि क्या करेंगे क्या नहीं करेंगे, right? But our guy took that drive, took that responsibility, reached out to the people, arranged the call with the senior HR, get the problem sorted, and then because of him, rest of the 20 member got proper allocation of senior, and now they are going to get started with the projects. That's a marvelous quality right at the fresher, and that's because constantly we are speaking about upgrading the mindset, taking ownership, taking responsibility. So if you do these things again and again, eventually you are going to apply and your life is going to get benefited. But that's what, being in circle of like-minded people. Like, I am growth oriented. I don't like wasting my time and casual stuff. I'm growth oriented. I want to succeed, and I want all you to succeed. And many of you want that itself to become successful. Now, when growth minded people come together, we talk about solutions. We talk about getting things done. We talk about, the market is bad, job is not coming, but still, how do we get it done? We don't lose hope. We figure it out till the time we get it. So one time listening is not going to do it. Our way of thinking and actions should change. I know someday maybe you'll start coming up in the morning 6 a.m. You'll start doing things for yourself. And guys, in the end, you will get rewarded. So I saw marvelous results with that. And there are many such examples, not just one incident. Today this happened, so I'm able to recollect that. But there are multiple examples where people like very confidently led into the IT industry to really solve their own problems. And that's was marvelous. Okay, communication improved, confidence improved, way of thinking improved, time waste reduced on social media, and their ownership and responsibility, growth mindset improved, and that's what makes you a person. So guys, I would highly recommend कि भाई join the 6th February again, so that you can really grow in that angle. Okay, Fine, I'm sharing the attendance. Do it, guys. This transition from current state to a better state should happen someday in your life. Okay, fine. Attendance code for today is 7878, and here's the link. Mark the attendance code. Then we will take like 10 minutes of time to walk through the branching model. Otherwise, let's close it today because it will become a rush. Tomorrow we will start with that. Plus, if there are questions, we'll take the questions, and plus there will be more topic also. Okay, mark the attendance, and I would highly recommend you guys to join in the 6th February related thing. And if you feel anybody of your friends are really interested to grow towards this success part and do what we are literally doing, so you can just forward them. If somebody doesn't want to put efforts, so don't give it to them, because it's not about listening. If somebody really wants it and is ready to put efforts, recommend it only to those people. Okay, because actions are everything. Without actions, usse acha hai, let them enjoy their life the way they are doing. Okay, fine. So yes, I've even shared the registration link in the chat. Okay, 6th February, 9 p.m. registration link. So you can register your friends, forward it to them. And yes, it's a free batch, so there is no money involved. And yes, we are building great professionals who will lead a very nice work-life balance with mental stability, clear thought process, confidence in themselves, and that kind of attitude change is definitely going to happen. Okay. Okay, it's fine, everybody. Push yourself. And guys, actually, there are multiple thoughts which I'm thinking through. I'll just share it, okay, in a 2 minutes. Okay. I think not right now, but as this program goes forward, so there are two divisions for this program. One is a successful professional, becoming a successful individual on the planet, a successful human being, which includes majority of what we are doing plus habit installation, success habits installation, mindset makeover, and all that. So one kind of work will grow in that direction, becoming a very highly successful individual, complete covering all aspects of life. Okay. And then there is going to be another wing where this career related things which we are taking, we are going to get into more practical stuff to become a player. I'm working on that system right now. Okay, but it might still take like 2-3 months of time for me to really formalize a project and a course around it. But we will build that, becoming a player, and with proper techniques, strategies, and system to do that. So there will be two ways of going through this project. One will be becoming a player, which is corporate level full, and second will be becoming highly successful in life. So two kind of divisions will grow. So expect some changes to happen in the next course of 3 months or something as the project goes. But I definitely know there is going to be a lot of value. Plus, I'm even thinking the majority of you are struggling to join in the morning sessions. Okay, so I'm even thinking maybe if we can pull some of the areas, because morning we do a lot of practical activities, if we bring some of them during evening session. Okay, and then actually trying to split up between what we do in morning, what we do in evening, plus the topics that we are covering. So I think many people can get more advantage here. We can actually review our today plus plan for tomorrow, rather than waking up in the morning, plan for tomorrow. And then tomorrow morning there will be definitely session 6 a.m, but something else we will do. Okay, so I'm really working on that. Maybe in 6th February batch itself we will apply that, so that it becomes more result oriented and output oriented. So even if you are not able to start in the mornings, maybe in this session itself, 9:30 to 10, we will do all these other activities about preparing for tomorrow. So by that way, you can get more value, so that mornings will be in your control. Plus morning session will continue, but with certain different activities. I'm trying to make morning sessions more interactive. Okay, more interactive in the sense we will start taking weekly tasks there, weekly focus, and sharing our experiences with one another. I think there is going to be a lot of value which will keep happening. There are a lot of thoughts running. And if you think, how do we improve in who we are? So you will get the right ideas. And I'm just like happy you guys are there, week 3 final days, really trying to rediscover yourself to get to a better track. So that what pushes me also to give my best, to give as maximum value. And I think only from one perspective, your end mein result aana chahiye. Okay, and output should change, not learning it or listening it, but a person should change towards a success track. Okay, that's what is the core target of this full program. So thank you everybody, and see you guys tomorrow morning 6, whoever coming, and in the evening tomorrow is the last day of January batch. Okay, thank you all and have a fantastic time everybody.